beauties, it's Jazz and welcome to my YouTube channel, Amaza Beauty. This is an old video I found on my hard drive. It was a video obviously of me doing knotless braids on myself. I never actually finished it, so I'm just going to talk through this video, tell you guys how I do the knotless and extend them, and just chat a little bit about myself. So this video is really old. I don't even have any hair anymore, so that tells you about how old it is. I think I filmed this Mother's Day of last year, which is sad that I never actually posted it. So as you can see, I'm using the Shine and Jam for braiders, and I'm using that to smooth my real hair into the braid. So here's a good angle of me starting a braid. As you can see, I split my hair into 3 sections. And then I'm using my middle finger to hold the hair in place and pull it into the braid. And I'm just gonna keep doing that until I get the braid the size that I want it. I think I started off adding about 3 or 4 pieces. I have a really bad habit of starting videos and never finishing them, so then I feel like I can't post them. But this year I'm not doing that. So this video, you'll be able to see me completely braid my hair or finish braiding it. And I dipped the ends. I just didn't have a shot of the end result or any pictures, surprisingly. I did most of the braiding off camera because it was hard to basically film and have my head in the shot where it needed to be and also see what I was doing in the back of my head. So I'm sitting here, I have a mirror sitting in front of me, and I have a mirror on the desk beside me that I'm looking at, and I'm also using my camera monitor to see what I'm doing. And in case you were wondering, these braids took me forever to do. They were obnoxiously long. I used 30-inch hair, and then I still extended them a little bit more. I think they were like down to my thighs. So if I'm not mistaken, it took me about 4 days to finish these braids. So a fun fact about me, I've literally been braiding as long as I can remember. I got my cosmetology license about 8 years ago, but I was doing braids long before that, probably since like high school. And I've always hated to be stuck in that braider's box. Like when I first started working at salons, that would be the first thing. They're like, oh, you know how to braid? You'll do all the braids. Like, I hated being in that braider box, but now I'm starting to embrace it. It just comes so naturally to me, and I'm really, really good at it. So I'm just gonna step into that braider's box that I've always hated to be in. So here I've moved on to the other side. I switched my setup and moved my mirror so I could be facing the camera once again. And I would say the hardest part about braiding my own hair is being able to see what I'm doing on the top and in the back. Like if I had a superpower, I used to say I would want like another set of eyes in the back of my head, but that wouldn't do me much help. I mean, I think it would be easier if I could like look down on myself braiding my own hair, but obviously that's not possible. So here you can see me actually extending the braids, and I'm just taking small pieces of hair and adding them into the braid and continuing to braid down. I can't really explain how I do it. I don't think I could do a good job explaining it, but hopefully it's easy for you to see how I'm extending the braids. So once again, I'm just splitting the section I'm gonna braid into 3 pieces, 3 even pieces. And then I'm going to take a piece of braiding hair that is about the same size as the 3 pieces of my real hair. And I'm just gonna keep adding them into the braid. So you might have noticed my braids are a little bigger in the back, or basically my parts of my braids are a little bigger in the back. That's where those eyes in the back of my head would come in handy, because I tried to keep the braid size consistent, but it's really only so much I can do on the back of my head. And also I didn't want them to be super full, so I did want the braid size or the part size to be a little bigger in the back, but not as big as they ended up being. But you really couldn't tell when I had all of the braids down. So here I finally made it to the top of my head. I went ahead and closed in the front first, just to make sure I kept my part size consistent with those braids. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and keep working my way around the back and finish up the top. So I mentioned how long these braids were, which was about down right under my butt, or like the top of my thigh. And you might be wondering if they were heavy. They weren't. They were super, 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 super lightweight. And that's one thing I like about knotless braids. They're not as bulky as box braids, and you use less hair. So when you want to have your braids super long, it's really not a lot of tension on your hair. So as I mentioned, I never finished this video, and I surprisingly don't have any pictures of these braids, or maybe I would have to really, really look, but I'm not one of those people who take pictures all of the time. So even though I had these braids for a couple months, I don't think I have any pictures of them, which is just sad. I'm gonna do better, y'all. I really am. Because these braids were fire, and it's like, if you don't have a picture, you don't have proof. Like, these braids were smoking. These are like the best set of braids I've ever done on myself, and I have nothing to show for it. So here you can see me kind of moving hair from one section of the braid to the other, and sometimes that's necessary when you have too much or too little hair in one of the sections of the braid. So I just do that to keep the section size consistent so that the braid looks smooth. And we're almost to the end of the video, unfortunately, but coming up, you're just gonna see me dip the ends. Before I dip the ends though, I split my hair in half and I braided the ends down because I wanted the ends to be curly and look like goddess braids. So I did that, and now I'm just gonna dip the ends. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sorry it's not a whole video, but I felt like this was good content. I hope you learned something. Make sure to follow me on all of my social media, please. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. And thanks again for watching, beauties.